All right, it's the 14th of April. It's a Monday. We've got about 20 minutes to the NY Open. We'll get to the charts immediately. I've had a bit of technical issues with one of my monitors. Yeah, should be good now. Yeah, that was some technical glitch that I had to sort out. Hopefully, it will be good. All right, let's go to the calendar. So, no news today and tomorrow. No news Monday, Tuesday. On Wednesday, we got retail sales, and then that's it. Thursday, Friday, there is nothing, right? So just one news event this week, retail sales on Wednesday. Shouldn't do a lot to price, but should have some volume on Wednesday. All right, let's go up a time frame. That's how the weekly candle closed. That tells you everything. This one weekly candle tells you everything you need to know about gold over the last couple of weeks, right? We've been very bullish on, I think, 2,900 pips in a single week. It's probably a record for gold. That's a $290 change in price in 1 week for gold, right? So we're very bullish. On the weekly time frame, very bullish, very likely to pull back, grab liquidity, and continue higher. We've spoken about this. We are very likely heading towards 3,500 or even higher with the way, and these moves are entirely based on fundamentals, right? To do with the tariffs, mainly to do with the tariffs, right? That's what's basically deciding the price of gold right now. Has little to do with technicals. We saw this on, if you were on the streams on Thursday, Friday, then you would have seen this. The price did not really come to technical levels. So it still has something to do with technicals, but less to do with technicals and more to do with fundamentals. And that's the reason for the push up. Let's go to the daily quickly. On the daily, price has closed above 3,200, just under 3,250, with no bottom wick. We could be coming down to grab liquidity. Could happen today or could happen tomorrow or even the day after. There is no bottom wick here, so we could come down towards 3,167 before we push up. That's a possibility. But if you are very bullish, if more news comes out this week with regard to the tariffs, then we could be heading past 3,250 to 3,300 and 3,350, right? Again, we're at all-time highs. There is very little, there is zero information on the left because we're at all-time highs. We're looking for pullbacks, and we're trying to buy at liquidity areas so that we can be part of the move going up. Okay, that's on the day. Let's go to the trading chart. Right. Before we draw our zones, I'll quickly talk about what happened on Friday. On Friday, we were hoping for a pullback to a liquidity level. Didn't happen. Price just continued up. NY, let's look at the 50-minute time frame. Yeah, price opened here and just pushed up. There was no pullback. I think we ended the stream somewhere here. Price did pull back to this level, but it was a Friday. I was out. I didn't want to, force any trades because I was anticipating in the first couple of hours of the NY Open for a pullback to a liquidity level. And when I mean liquidity level, it's one of the 5 liquidity levels that I've shared before on the streams, the EMA or the liquidity candle or this BRN here, and that didn't happen. And price just continued to push up. Then we range for the rest of the session and just continue to range, right? And we are still ranging, and then we did pull back a bit. That's all in the Asian session. Okay, let's get rid of all of these and start with our zones today. I need to Okay, it's very ugly. We've been ranging for a long time since around Thursday, Friday. We've been ranging. Nothing's happened. On Friday, just ranging. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Yeah, about 28, 25 hours, 26 hours. We've been about 26 hours. Price has been ranging. It's done nothing. So basically, we still have this zone is still valid. We've tapped it now. This zone is still valid. The zone that we drew, I think, on Thursday. So what I'm going to do is extend this to the right. Today is the 14th. And that's a rally, base, and a rally. And we did draw it based off on the 1 hour. We adjusted it. So here, rally, base, rally, and this was a reaction to this source. And that's the zone, right? There is a liquidity candle here that has been tapped already. I'm going to extend that to the right as well. That's been tapped. Okay, that's demand. Price has just ranged. So these levels I'm just going to extend to the right because we haven't come there yet. We drew these zones on Thursday. If you want to have a look at how we drew these zones, watch the first 30 minutes of Wednesday or Thursday's stream, and it'll be very clear. This is still a high liquidity zone because it's just tapped it by a few pips. All I'm doing is just extending these zones, these previous zones that we drew, right? Because there are no real new zones today. There might be, we'll have to take a look at on the low time frame. But based off this 4, there is nothing. Price is just ranging, right? Now, these are demand zones. That covers about 1,000 pips to the downside. That's good enough. Let's look at supply. We have some sort of resistance here. We have, if you look immediately if you look in this immediate vicinity of price, there is a rally and a drop here. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, there is it's pretty ugly, maybe on the 30 minute. That's even uglier. So that's a rally, a base, and a drop, right? Yeah, it doesn't look pretty, but that's the zone that we have. Yeah, maybe adjust it to this rally, 3 basin candles and a drop. Doesn't look great, I'll be honest. Doesn't look great because it's really ugly. Been ranging since we probably need a breakout to the upside or the breakout to the downside, either today or tomorrow. Um, let's keep it here. 451, 578. 4. Okay, let's leave it like that. And that would be 4-hour demand, 4-hour supply. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the weekly SR levels are still the same from last week. We don't have any new levels. Probably might form 1 or 2 new levels this week, right? But for now, for today, there is still the O levels. 3167 is the closest weekly SR level we have towards current price, and that is about 575 pips away. So we don't need to worry about that today. We are bullish. That's all that's important to note, that we're very bullish, right? Now, I'm expecting a bullish move today. We might continue to range, but I'm expecting a bullish move today. Let's look at the 1 hour and check if this is a high liquidity zone. So has this supply taken out anything? Yes, there is demand here. There is a drop-based rally, and this move down has taken that, okay? In fact, let's do this. Let's bring it here. Drop-based drop, and that's taken out this. Let's adjust it to this. 202. Yeah, that's better. So that's a high liquidity zone. Okay. Okay, now let's see if we have a high liquidity candle here that's already been tapped and price is pushing up. That's a good sign. We've tapped it before pre-NY. Let's check here if we have a high liquidity candle in here. On the 1 hour, that's the largest candle. Let's go down to the 30-minute. There's a 125 pip candle there. Let's just mark that out. Start with that. And on the 15-minute, it would be this candle. That's obvious. That's the largest candle in the zone. 378, 325. 378, 325. Okay, good enough. Okay, just a second. Okay, so that's the zone, right? These are the zones for the NY session. We got some old demand zones down here that was drawn last week. That's what I mean by old. It's not that it's been tested before, but old zones, as in we drew them last week. We have a new supply zone here. That's a high liquidity supply zone. That's a 4-hour zone. Okay, right. Now we're going to take a look at what price did in the Asian and London sessions very quickly. Okay, let's go to the 50-minute time frame, and I believe price gap down. Let's start here. Yeah, that's the market open. So price gapped 170 pips. This was the close and this was the open, right? And always think that's an invisible candle there. So that's a bear candle here, and then price opened and then tried to push up and then continued up, right? So it very quickly filled the gap within the first few hours. Okay, so that's the market open. The market opened at 3228, right? 3228. Okay, so in the Asian session, price moved up 300 pips, and then in the London session we moved down 214 pips, right? So basically, 300 pips in the Asian, 200 pips in the London. Let's take a closer look at what happened. Now, we were ranging. Price is just moving sideways, and that's exactly what happened in the Asian session today when the market opened, right? So price did dip here, but that was a gap. So this was the actual swing low, because this low is lower than here. That was the actual swing low. And price went up and created a new high. That's what it did. It created a new high above the previous day high. We tapped this high and we broke that high. That's what price did here, right? And then gold was too expensive. So price decided, because there is no technical levels now. You got to remember that. There are no technical levels to the left here, right? This is just ranging. You can say that there was supply here, right? But so you can say that there was 1 hour supply here. Let's go to the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, there was a supply zone here. Okay, just to show exactly what price did. Okay, so price, that's what price did. There was a supply zone there. There was a 1 hour supply zone there. There you go, that's the 1 hour zone. Price broke above it and then it rejected it and closed below. So on the 30-minute time frame, you can see a clear rejection. This was in the Asian session and price continued down. Okay, I'll get rid of this later. We create a 30-minute resistance and we pushed down back to, and on the way down we created a liquidity candle. That is this is that 15-minute liquidity candle. Price came, pushed down, came back, grabbed liquidity, pushed further down to the EMAs, came back. There was no bullish volume to push past this, so we came up here, we collect liquidity at the liquidity candle, push straight past, created the London high here, pushed straight past, created the London low. We pushed back up, closed below the London low and the Asian low, and tapped the liquidity candle down here, right? Came back up, closed above the Asian high. What's this low? This low is 538 and this close is 535. Yeah, so we closed at it. 30-minute candle, we formed support, close 535. Yeah, we closed at it. And now seems like we've closed above the London low as well. We should be pushing back up to this liquidity candle. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this was formed outside of pre-NY. So, okay, this is the NY open is in about a minute, in about 30 seconds. Okay, let's look at what's possible today. 30-minute support is formed here, right? You can see the indicator also has shown 30-minute support. Just a second. Yeah. The indicator has also shown 30-minute support, and we have 30-minute support here, right? It's pretty clear. Now, this is formed before pre-NY, so I don't consider this. I'm going to ignore this. For buys, I want price to pull back, create 30-minute support again to take buys to go up. Very simple, right? We are ranging. I'm not looking at the 15-minute. I'm not looking at 15-minute support or resistance at all. I'm not looking at 15-minute support or resistance at all. Only 30-minute support or resistance. We are ranging. We've been ranging for the last 26 hours. We got about how much? 4 hours. Yeah, for over 26 hours we've been ranging, right? So since Friday, look at that. Just prices just going sideways. If you look at the EMAs also begin to flatline. Okay, they're going sideways. Prices in between them. They're not above them nor below them. So for me to take buys, I want price to pull back, create 30-minute support, and then to go up. Right now, it's already tapped the liquidity candle inside of the London hours. So that's before pre-NY, it's already tapped it. So it doesn't need to do it again. I don't need to see another tap. It can tap this, several times, but it doesn't have to. So if price pulls back, create 30-minute support and a tradable 30-minute bull candle close, I'll look to take buys on the pullback to head back up to the London high, first to the liquidity candle, which is 3233, and then 3238, 3233, 3238, right? But I want to take buys from down here, so that we get about 200 pips, 240, 250 pips if it comes here. If price doesn't pull back and we continue to head up, then you can look to take sells also. Again, you got to wait for 30-minute resistance to be created and a tradable 30-minute back candle to close, and take sells on the pullback to come down first to the liquidity candle, which is 3208, 3208, and then 3200. Okay, that's also about a 250 pip drop, right? So either, because we are right now in the middle, so we want price to come towards one of these zones, either to supply or to demand. For 30-minute support to form if we come down, for 30-minute resistance to form if we come up, and then take the sells or then take the buys from down here. Pretty straightforward. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Again, it's a Monday. We're not going to try to force a trade today. We're going to patiently wait for price to get to either of these areas. Now, it could take time. It could take an hour and a half, but best is to just wait, right? Patiently to get a trade and to see if a setup forms, then that's when you take the trade. Okay, that's the analysis. Any questions on anything that I have discussed so far? Please feel free to drop a question in the chat and I'll do my best to answer. I don't trade in the middle of zones like this. When prices, especially when prices created um, support before pre-NY. 1330 is before pre-NY. IC markets 1330 server time, that's before pre-NY. Pre-NY is considered after 1400 hours. So after this candle right here on IC markets, after this candle is what I consider as pre-NY. So that's when I would consider 30-minute support um, to form for me to take a buy trade, right? So this has happened before. So I'm ignoring this. I want to see for me to take a buy. For me to take a buy, price doesn't have to pull back, but for me to take a buy, price needs to pull back, create 30-minute support, and then for me to take the buys to go up. For me to take sells, price needs to come up here, create 30-minute resistance, and a tradable 30-minute back candle needs to close either with that resistance or after it for me to take a sell on the pullback back down to this liquidity candle and to 3,200, right? That's what I'm waiting for. Um, yeah, we should be heading high. We should be going up because we've closed above the Asian low, we've closed above the London low, so we should be pushing up here, right? That's what price should be doing. Technically, we should be pushing back up to um, the London high, at least to the London high. And once we get there, then we'll see if we're going to reject and form 30-minute resistance or not. But we should be pushing up here. Now, just because I know the price is pushing up, that doesn't mean I will buy a breakout or anything. I don't do that. I'm a pullback trader. I wait for price to pull back to my zones to take a trade because I believe that offers the uh, low risk, high reward, high probability entry, right? That's the only method I've seen so far. When you draw your zones and wait for the pullback to enter, that's the only method I've seen so far in all my years of trading that offers a low risk, high reward, high probability trading. Breakout trading is great, it works. I've tried it as well. There's nothing wrong with it. it just doesn't suit me, right? That doesn't. You have to find a trading system that fits uh, your handle. It's got to fit like a glove, a perfect fit. Uh, to your style of trading, to your personality. So to the things you believe in. So I like you know pullback entries. I like a retracement. So that's why I always draw the zones and I wait at those areas for 30 minutes support or resistance to form to take trades from. They don't happen every day. They don't work every time. But when they do work, they offer very good RR. Yeah, so we're still pushing up. Nothing much is happening. Candle is about to close. That's a 50 pip candle. So there is volume. There is volume, but I cannot buy. Prices move too far away already. We've moved 200 pips already, and we're just about 100 pips away from the London high. Yeah, got to wait for the pullback. Okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. We still have about 16 minutes for the candle to close. 16 and a half minutes. I'll be back in about 4 or 5 minutes. Just let me know if the stream is working fine, or is it buffering? Because it is at my end, so I'm not sure um, if you're having issues that you're watching the streams. Thanks, Philip. Perfect. Perfect. Thanks. Probably just at my end. It's been buffering for the last several minutes. Yeah, so we're still ranging, right? Prices, if you look at the 4-hour chart, um, if you just look at the candles, it's about 150 pip range. If you exclude the wicks, and that's what you should be doing when you're looking at a range, you exclude the wicks, because the wicks are the extreme. You look at um, where majority of the trading happen, and that's the body of the candle, right? So if you just look at all the bodies of the candle, that's about 150 pip range. We've been ranging for the last 26 hours, 27 hours, 26, 27 hours, right? There's nothing happening, and the price is exactly in that range. It's exactly where it is at that range, right? That's the extreme of that range. The bottom where the wicks are, and this is the top where the top wicks are, and this is the bulk of the trading in a 150, 160 pip range. And that's exactly where current price is right now. So there's nothing to do except just to wait for price to come to one of these areas, and then we look for uh, 30-minute support or resistance. If price comes down here, creates support, and starts to push up again, we should be coming up here. There's no top wick on this 30-minute candle, so we should come up there. 3236, and then to the London high. Yeah, about 5 minutes more for the 30-minute candle to close. See if this is a pullback to continue up, or are we forming 30-minute resistance here? I think it should be a pullback to continue higher, because we've closed above the Asian low and above the London low. You can say that they are the same price, because they're just like about 10 pips between them, so almost at the same price. Yeah. So that's the Asian low. We closed at it, and then the next candle has closed above both of them, the Asian low and the London low. So this is possibly a pullback to create a bottom wick before, probably on the 1 hour. And then the next 30 minutes, so this is the first 30-minute candle of this 1 hour candle. So the next 30 minutes we should continue higher, right? Now, can you take buys? You're going to have a very wide stop loss. It's a 200 pip stop loss, right? Because this has tapped the liquidity candle. If this happened in pre-NY, yes, that's great. Then you can probably consider the pullback, take the trade. But this happened before pre-NY. So let's look at this. Could take a buy here. Could take a buy here. I'm going to take a buy here. I'm going to take a buy here, right? Going to take one buy here because price pulled back. This should be a bottom wick on the 1 hour for price to continue higher. But your stop loss would have to be pretty wide for now, and probably here about 70 pips, 65, 70 pips. We're anticipating about 220 pips, right? If we come further down, I'll probably take another buy. But it's always best to wait for 30-minute support to form. It's best to wait. But I've just taken one buy. If price comes down here, I'll take another one. Yeah, the stop loss is going to be wide for now. Let's wait. 30-minute candle, we're forming resistance. Remember, we're ranging, right? We spoke about this. We're in a range, right? This is the bottom of the range, and that's the top of the range, right? These are where the wicks are, the bottom, and that's the top. It's the 1 hour candle. We should be pushing up. Look at that 15-minute candle. That's volume. It's a 155 pip candle. Yeah, this one should break this low and come further down. Probably wait for an entry here. maybe even below this. Got an entry there as well. It might come below this as well. Let's see. So TPs are 3233, 3238. It's about 200 pips. And then the next one is about 250 pips. It's always better to wait for 30-minute support to form. I always advise that. I've just taken a buy here. Um, and that's why it's just one position and a very small position because we should be coming further down. Let's see how the 15-minute and the 30-minute candles close. Depending on that, we can add positions, right? So don't rush into anything. Just wait for the 15-minute candle to close first, and then we'll also wait for probably to look at the 15-minute candle, how it closes. If it closes a doji, then we'll obviously have to wait for the 30-minute candle to close. But after they close, then we'll have a better idea of what to do with this trade. Whether we are going to manage risk on this trade, because if price starts closing below, then it's probably coming deeper down. If it tries to close back above the London low or the Asian low, they're around the same price, they're around the same price, starts closing above them, that means they're going to push up. So then we can add more positions, right? If you do come here, I'll take another position. If you do come down, further down. Yeah, I've got an order here, pending order here, right here, 3208.15. If that gets triggered, it does. If it doesn't, then that's fine. If price continues to push up, let's see, we're coming further down. It should get triggered. It might come below this as well, because you got to keep in mind that's the liquidity candle, right? So price can come deeper into the liquidity candle because this candle has no bottom wick, so we can come deeper into it. Yeah, there we go. We're coming deeper. I'm going to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to manage risk until the 15-minute candle closes. We're going to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. That's the reason I've taken very small, two small positions, because the it doesn't really affect, this drawdown really doesn't affect me. 3228. Yeah, it's over 250 pips if we can't run there. Yeah, let's wait for the 50-minute candle close. Depending on how the 50-minute candle closes, I'll decide what to do with these positions, right? We've got another almost 8 minutes for the candle to close. Let's see. Now, what I want to see is for price, even if it does come further down, that's okay, because we know that these are liquidity areas. That's a liquidity candle, and that's a BRN, so that's okay if it comes further down. But I want to see price reject and push back up and close above the Asian high or the London high. That's when we know the price is heading up. If that doesn't happen and price begins to range here, right? So if you close a bearish candle and the next one possibly breaks the low, then maybe we close one of the positions, right? That's how we manage risk. But we got to wait for this 15-minute candle to close, because you got to give price uh, room to come into the liquidity candle, grab liquidity. Now it's done it before pre-NY. So that is why if this happened in pre-NY, yeah, it would have been great, but it happened before pre-NY, so it can happen again. It can happen many times, right? We've just tapped it once, just tapped it by about 10, 11 pips, 10, 11, 12 pips. Right, this is a fairly large liquidity candle. Let's look at the 15-minute time frame. Maybe on the 5-minute. Yeah, this was the candle. Yeah, that's the candle right there. Yeah, that's the one right there. Right? So that's where your stop loss would be. It's a wide stop loss. That is why price, you got to give it space to come into the liquidity candle. So we're going to wait for the 15-minute candle to close first, which is in about 6 minutes from now. Yeah, broke the low as expected. 5-minute no bottom wick. That's okay. Let's wait for this 15-minute candle to close. Coming straight down to 3200. Yeah, we're tapping this area, rally base rally. Let's see what happens. I'm going to give this trade room to move. If it comes down, that's why I've taken a very small position. If it comes down here, this is the stop loss, obviously. Then I'll obviously, if you break the liquidity candle, then the trade is not valid. Just a second. 234. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, if you break below 31.93.95, then the trade is not valid, right? But the idea is to give it some room to move before it moves up, before it possibly moves up. There is no guarantee in trading, right? There is no guarantee. So one buy is at the liquidity candle, exactly at it. The other one was just above it. Let's see. It's always best to wait for 30 minutes support to form. I always say that. I just took the trade. I took a very small position. But then I know that I will manage risk. I know that I'm okay with this loss. If price continues to come down, if there's a straight candle that moves another 200 pips, I'm okay to take this loss. My account is okay to take this. It's nothing. It's an insignificant loss. Um, but the idea is that there's a liquidity candle here. Price is ranging. Um, we have closed above the Asian low and the London low, and we should be pushing back up. We are also in a range, in a 4-hour range. This is the bottom of the range, and that's the top of the range. We could be pushing back up once price comes back to the range, right? We come back here, we should continue higher. So up here means above the London low. Once price closes above the London low, if you have a 30-minute close or a 15-minute close above the London low, that means price should be heading higher. So that's what we're waiting for. 5-minute candle is trying to reject, it's still not closed. It's still a bearish candle. We'd like to see a bullish candle. A bearish candle means we're coming further down, right? That's all it means. A bearish candle means we're coming further down. Yeah, we could be coming further down, close to bearish candle. Okay, so we've closed a bearish 15-minute candle, right? So we are coming further down. Now the question is, should we manage risk on one of these positions? You can manage risk on one of the positions. You can close one of them. You can close one of them. Yeah, because price is coming down. So you can close, if you open the position up here, you can close that. and keep the one at the bottom open maybe. That's a better way to manage risk. I'm going to keep both of them for now. It's going to wait. Price is coming down. It is coming down. We're coming towards 3,200. Yeah, we're coming down. We are coming down. It's better to manage risk on one of the positions. Yeah, my advice is to manage risk on one of the positions. That's my advice. If you opened a trade up here, probably close that, keep the one below, and close that one. Because this is a top wick to continue down. We could be possibly coming down here again. Let's see. We've moved 450 pips today already. That'll be a low volume day for gold. If we close at 450 pips, that'll be a low trading day for gold. Look at these candles. Look at these daily candles. It's almost 700. Over 1,000 pips. Over 1,200 pips. 480. That's a low volume trading day. 979, 980. 1,100. 1,100. It should come down. Should be coming down. There's no bottom wick on this candle. Should be coming down. For the buys to play out again, you have to we gotta see 30 minute support form. If 30 minute support forms doesn't form, then the buys are not valid. Then price is going to continue down. Yeah, we tapped the liquidity candle in the inside the London session, so we could continue down. So you got to be very careful. It's no place to take a sell though. Yeah, I'm gonna manage risk on this trade. Coming down. So an hour, 7 minutes for the 4-hour candle to close. So supply zone here. There's a supply zone here. Drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 basin candles and a drop. Price did come from 30-minute resistance, but no pullback to take the trade. Da, 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 da. 80 pips. Hmm. 3223. Hmm. Yeah, we're pushing down. We're pushing down. Pushing down. The next one should break the low and continue down. Yeah, we're coming down. Just thinking of how to manage risk on this. 3808. 399. .96 pips. 92, 89, 64, 91, 72. Hmm. Yeah. There is another ugly zone here. That's the issue. So 1 hour zone here. There's nothing on the 4 hour. 4 hour was that one above. But there's a 1 hour zone that price is reacting to. This drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 basin candles and this drop. And inside that zone is this high liquidity candle, right? This 30-minute candle. It's also visible on the 15 minutes, the same candle. Yeah, it's the same candle, 30-minute, 15-minute candle. That's the one the price reacted to. So we came, didn't form 30-minute resistance, was formed later. Yeah, and we dropped. That's the candle. So let's see if we pull back. Pull back. Bull candle needs to close. A very strong bull candle, 5-minute bull candle needs to close for us to head up. But here's what I'm going to do. A minute more for the price to, okay. As soon as price breaks this low, I'm going to close one of my positions. Very simple, right? That's how I'm going to manage this. 365. Okay, that's how I'm going to manage risk. 50-minute candle is closing back inside the liquidity candle. It's a bear candle. We're not closing outside. If it was a bull candle, I would have left it, but we're closing inside this liquidity candle to continue down. So as soon as the next candle breaks this low, which is 3203.65, I'm going to close one of my positions. That's how I'm going to manage risk on one of the positions, right? Very straightforward. We break the low, I'm going to close. Because we can add back risk. If we close above, we can add the risk back on. But once we break this low, the 15-minute low, that means we're coming further down. And I hate drawdown. We're coming further down. Here we go. Once we break this low, I'm closing. Okay? Once we break 3203.65, I'm closing one of these positions. Yeah, that's an inside bar. It should break it. It should break it. I'm going to close one. I'm going to keep the other. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to close this one. 3203.65. You have to find a way to manage risk. And now it makes sense because the 15-minute candle has closed a doji But as not close outside the liquidity candle, close inside it for the next one. If it breaks the low, then the next one is going to come further down, possibly break even this low, right? So why hold drawdown when that's a very likely possibility of happening? So when you break this low, you close one of the positions. Very straightforward. If we start to close back above here, then we can add some positions of price to continue up here to 3233. Sorry, just give me a second. Yeah, this is the probably prices ranging until NYSC. We got NYSC in about 25 minutes. Yeah, yeah, 25 minutes, 26 minutes to NYSC, New York Stock Exchange open. So price is possibly ranging until then. Let's see what happens. If you, again, I've said this like 3 or 4 times already, if you break this low, this 15-minute bearish doji low, I'm going to close one of my positions and keep one open. And I'll close the next one once price possibly breaks. I'll have to wait for another 15-minute candle to close the next one. All right. If we close back above, if a 30-minute candle closes back above the London high, then we are coming to the the London low, then we're coming to the London high. 3233 and 3238. If you don't, then we're pushing down. Right? So that's how the TPs are placed. That's the reason for the TPs. Even though there's a liquidity candle here and a 1-hour zone here, this is a 1-hour supply zone. You saw how I drew it. You guys saw how I drew it. That's a 1-hour supply zone. That's based off a drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 basin candles and this drop. The reason for these basin candles, majority of these candles have almost all of them, I think, almost all of them, not all of them, have bigger collective wicks than the body, right? Starting from this one. That's the first one. And that's why that's the start of the base. And this is the end of the base. And this is the big move out. You can see that this candle moved out 175 pips. That's the candle that moved out. Yeah, we're still trying to push down. There is no confirmation at all that we're pushing up. There's absolutely zero confirmation that price is pushing up right now. It's showing that we are pushing down. Right? This is probably creating a top wick to head down, and that is why I've got a partial close position at 3203.65. I'm going to close one of these positions, right? Because I'm not going to hold drawdown. Further beyond this, I'm not going to hold drawdown on one of them. For us to uh, see the price, for us to anticipate price to push up, or have a probability for there to be a chance for price to push up, we have to create 30-minute support. Right now, we don't have 30-minute support, right? There's nothing. Price is just continuing down. Once 30-minute support forms, then uh, a little more, there's a little high chance that price could continue to push up, right? It's not still, there is no guarantees in trading, but if you form 30-minute support at a liquidity candle, then inside high volume hours, inside the NY open, then price could continue to push up. But right now we don't have it. We don't have any 30-minute support form. We don't even have 15-minute support form. But 50-minute support is not enough. You got to wait for 30-minute support. I took these trades a little early, anticipating a tap of the liquidity candle to push up, but that's not happening. So that is why I'm going to manage risk at 3203.65. As soon as you break the low, I'm going to close. I might even close both positions. I'm not decided yet, but I'm going to close one for sure. And it looks like we're coming down because we're struggling to get past this. We're struggling to close above this 5-minute resistance. Right? We're struggling to close above this. There's 5-minute resistance right here. Yeah, that's a level there. 5-minute support, 5-minute support, 5-minute resistance. So if we don't close above this here, that means we're pushing down. 3 to 11.5. A 5-minute candle needs to close above this for us to continue higher, or a 15-minute candle needs to close up. It's better yet a 15-minute candle. Once a 15-minute candle closes above 3 to 11.5, we should push up. But if that doesn't happen, then we're coming down. And once you break this, I'm probably going to close both of them. Yeah, we're coming down. I'm going to manage risk. I'm going to close both positions. Once we break this low, 3203.65, I'm closing both of them, both positions. I'm not going to hold drawdown further beyond this 15-minute low. Once you break this, we're coming down. And once you break this, we're very likely going to break this low as well. So why hold another 30 pip drawdown? Makes no sense. There's a very likelihood the price is coming to 3200, right? Once that's about 40 pips. Yeah, here we go. Finger on the trigger. There we go. Closed. Closed. Okay, so we gave it a chance. Wait, because this wick was created. We gave it a chance to push back up, but it didn't. Broke this low, closed the trade. That's it. Yeah, I'll be here for another maybe 15 minutes. Price is still pushing down. There is no chance to buy here. And there wasn't a chance to sell either because we formed 30-minute resistance and there was no pullback. We just dropped, continue to drop. So there might be a trade later on. There might be buys later on. You just have to be patient and wait for 30-minute support to form at a liquidity level, either 3,200 or further down At this liquidity candle, that's possible. Price could come down here. Yeah, we could come to 3167 and then push up. That's very possible. Yeah, very likely to happen. We come here and then push up. I would have liked to take sells if he came up, but price didn't come up at all. Just push straight down. Yeah. There's absolutely no pullback after this 30-minute resistance. Closed here, and the next one just hardly pushed up and just came straight down. 150 pips down. No, it's nothing to do. So, yeah, the only possible thing to do today is to look for buys from a liquidity level. Like I said, wait for 30-minute support to form, tradable 30-minute bull candle to close, and then look for buys to head up to 3223, 3233. Pushing down. We should be pushing past this liquidity candle. Once we break this liquidity candle, we are coming straight down here. It's another 220 pip drop. We're coming to this liquidity candle. Yeah. Yeah, we're coming here. It's a 250 pip drop. Let's get rid of this. There's no point having that. Yeah, once you break it, we're coming. If you pull back to 3200, I might take a sell. If you close below this, I might take a sell. Stop loss above this candle, 30-minute high, to continue down. Because we should be coming down now. We're coming down to break this low. Let's wait for the 50-minute candle to close. And we should pull back. I'll take a sell here at 3200. Stop loss above the 30-minute candle high. Above this high. Push down. Yeah. 419. Wait for the pullback. Wait for the pullback. because we're coming. Once we break this low, we're coming another 220 pips. We're going to drop straight down here, 240 pips down here. Yeah, there we go. We broke the low. Yeah. Wait for the pullback. If you pull back, you can enter. Price is going to drop here. The daily candle has no low. Friday's daily candle. And that's where price is coming to. But wait for that pullback. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go. Triggered. Yeah, we're coming past this. Three 3174 is better. 3174. Yeah, that's better. 3174. $260 pips. Let's see if you can get there. Yeah, okay. So 40 minutes for the 4-hour candle to close. 10 minutes for NYSE open. Yeah, 10 minutes for NYSE open. We should pull back and continue. Maybe wait for the pullback, wait for 15-minute resistance, and then take the trade. 15-minute resistance and a 15-minute tradable back candle to close, and then take the trade to come down. Yeah, we're coming down. Don't take buys. Don't take buys. We're coming down here to the liquidity candle. Wait for the pullback. I've taken an entry at 3,200, just above 3,200. Stop loss would be, safer stop loss would be above the 30-minute candle high here. This 30-minute candle high. That's also where the Asian and London lows are. coming down. Okay, so I'll be ending the stream in about 5 minutes. Stop loss above the 30-minute candle high. If you want to manage risk, you can manage risk here. Let's look at the 50-minute time frame. Yeah, you can manage risk here, right? If you break this high, then you can manage risk. This high is 321080. 321080. Okay, if you haven't taken entries, you don't want to take entries, then just wait for confirmation. Wait for a pullback, 30-minute resistance to form, or 15-minute resistance to form, not 30-minute, 15-minute, because we are pushing down already. Wait for a pullback, 15-minute resistance to form, and a tradable 15-minute back candle to close, and then take the trade to come here. We're coming to 3174, 3170, or 3169. Let's say 3170 to be safe. Yeah, that's where we come. 3170. Okay. That's about a 260 pip drop. 300 pip drop. Okay. Got about 300 pips. Yeah. Can it do that today? It can. It can. We've had a 700 pip candle on Friday. We can have it's possible price to push down. 700 pips, yeah, it's possible. Okay, so that's how I'm managing risk. Managing risk will be at 321080, stop loss at 321420, TP at 3174, 3170. Okay, 3174, 3170. If you are uncomfortable with taking the sells, then wait for the pullback, 15-minute resistance to form, a 15-minute tradable back candle to close, then take the sells. Right? That's a little more confirmation. Okay. It's about 6.5 minutes for the NYSE open. Should break this low and come down. Yeah, it's coming down. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Keep this here. Philip, I think you asked stops on the buys. Yeah, I didn't get stopped out. I closed the trade. Like I said, see, for the buys, if you're asking about the buys, soon as price broke this low, I closed the trade. That's what I said I was going to do. I said soon as we break the low, that means we're coming to 3,200. That makes no sense to hold drawdown, right? That's what I said that I was going to do, and that's exactly what I did. When we broke the low, 50-minute, I closed both positions on the buys. If you're asking about the buys, for the sells, the stop loss is 3214.20, right? But you can manage risk at 3210.80. If you come up there, then maybe you can close probably partial positions at 3210. If you break above 3210.80, yeah, if you break above 3210.80, right? But your hard stop loss will be 3214.20, anticipating a push down here. Now, if you don't want to take these sells, if you're uncomfortable taking the sells because prices moved, a lot down, don't take them, right? Don't take them. Wait for confirmation. Wait for price to pull back, create 15-minute resistance and a tradable 15-minute back candle to close, and then take the sells to come down. The TPs are here, 3174, 3170. The reason for this trade is because we've closed below 3,200, and we've broken the liquidity candle low, right? So price has to come to the next liquidity. Is there any liquidity level in between this? There isn't. There's nothing in between this, right? There is no liquidity level in between these two areas. Between this and this, the next liquidity level after this low is the liquidity candle. There is nothing. There is no BRN, there is no weekly SR level, there are no EMAs, there is nothing in between them. That's the reason for the trade. That the price is to come down to the next liquidity, because price has to grab liquidity, right? That's what it needs to do. It has to grab liquidity, come down to continue in the opposite direction, for price to reverse, right? It has to grab enough liquidity. That's the reason for this trade. We are very bearish. We're coming and we're likely to break the daily candle. The Friday's daily candle had no bottom wick, right? So we're very likely to break this low. Now, can that happen today? Could, but it can happen tomorrow as well. So you just have to wait and see. You just have to wait and see. Again, if you break, you can manage risk at 321080, and stop loss is 321420. Okay, if you're uncomfortable with taking the sells, don't take the sells. Wait for price to pull back, create 15-minute resistance, and then take the sells. 15-minute resistance and a tradable 15-minute back candle to close, and then take the sells. Okay. Okay, it's getting to the NYSE open. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll be back in a couple of minutes and then we'll end the stream. The 30-minute candle is still closing bearish. It's about to close in 40 seconds. As I said, if you're uncomfortable taking these sells, don't take them, right? Don't take these sells. Wait for the pullback, 15-minute resistance to form, a 15-minute tradable back candle to close, then take the sells. And the reason for the sells is because we've broken the liquidity candle low. There is no liquidity level in between this candle and this candle. The next one is down here. That's the reason for the sells, right? And that's where the daily candle low is. There is no bottom wick on this, so price could come down to grab liquidity before we push back up. We could come down to 3167. Okay, now that can happen today or it can happen tomorrow. Keep that in mind, right? That's very important. It can happen even tomorrow. Okay, so that's the NYSE Open. I'm going to end the stream now. Again, I said here is a place to manage risk. If you have taken the sells, or if you want to take the sells, if you have taken the sells, this is where you're going to manage risk, right? And the stop loss would be 321420. That's your hard stop loss. But this is a place to manage risk. 321080. Okay, and your TP levels are down here. Okay. All right. Don't overtrade, don't over risk. It's only a Monday, right? Stay safe. We got a lot of week left, so don't overtrade, don't over risk. Be patient. You might have better setups over the next few days. We got retail sales on Wednesday, right? Thursday, is it? Wednesday or Thursday? We've got, well, let's check. Retail sales on Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it might be better trading days. It's just a Monday. Don't try to uh, over risk today on a Monday. Makes absolutely no sense. Okay, I'm in this trade, and this is where I'm going to manage risk at 3 to 1080, anticipating price to push further down. Okay, all right. I'll be back tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. We'll do a prep work, and then check if there are any trades for the first couple of hours of the NY Open. Okay. All right. Stay safe. See you tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. EST. Take care.